Good evening, good evening, good evening. It is September 17th, 2021. And you know, America, 8 months ago, Washington, D.C. was under attack. January 6th, the Capitol was under attack from people who fell for the big lie, from people who were whipped into a frenzy by the orange blunder, who was upset because he had lost the presidential election to Joe Biden by 7 million votes. And now he starts spreading a lie about being robbed, that the election was being stolen, that we as Americans were being bamboozled into believing that a Democrat had actually beat a Republican for the office of the President of the United States. And he promised those people that he would march with them down to the Capitol to take back what was stolen. Of course, the orange blunder, being who he is, made no steps to lead anyone anywhere. Instead, he did what most con men do. He got them to charge out and scream and tear up stuff and attack people, while he sat back miles away from the chaos, probably eating cheeseburgers and drinking Coke and laughing while the Capitol was under attack. Tomorrow will be September 18th. And those on the right side of the aisle, those extremists and seditionists, have decided that they're going to hold a J6 rally in Washington, D.C. for those who have been arrested and for those who are facing charges for fighting for freedom, as they say. Justice for J6 is what the rally is called, and is scheduled to take place on Capitol grounds this Saturday. It's organized by Matt Braynard, who was a former staffer for Donald Trump's 2016 presidential campaign. And like I said, they're supposed to be showing support for the hundreds of people that have been arrested in connection with storming the Capitol, which I find absolutely crazy to think that there are people who really believe that an election was stolen from them, who really believe that somehow, some way, voting machines changed votes. Votes were shipped in from China. Votes were somehow miraculously dug up from cemeteries in order for Joseph Biden to win this election. Now, the Capitol Police are not going to sit back this time. They are getting ready to deal with these people. Now, Capitol Police Chief Tom Manger has already told reporters he's not taking any chances, that he is alerting his entire force. He's also talking with Homeland Security, who on their part has said they've heard rumors of threats, but, they don't know how violent it's going to be. They don't know if any of these specific threats are credible. But me personally, when you thought Black Lives Matter was coming out, you took everything seriously. When they went out there to deal with Black Lives Matter, or so they thought, there were so many officers at the Capitol, suited and booted and just ready to beat folks in the head. So let's see what's going to happen tomorrow. Let's see what kind of presence is going to be made, not only from the Capitol Police, but from the Department of Homeland Security and other agencies. Because, as you know, the Capitol Police are not the only agency in Washington, D.C. You know, you got the FBI, you got the CIA, you have my favorite group, other government agencies, the UGA, and you have other law enforcement groups in Washington that some of you have never even heard of, but you can best believe they operate on a daily basis, tracking everything from your phone calls to your text messages. I mean, when it comes to defending the Capitol, that should never, ever, ever fall by the wayside. And think about the groups that's going to be out there. I'm quite sure the Proud Boys will show up, along with the Oath Keepers. I'm quite sure you'll have several different white supremacist groups and different conservative groups, all in the name of freedom. Okay? Because, once again, they're going to come out there and make sure that justice is going to prevail. Because, as you know, this election was stolen. And we just want to make it right. Think of all these different folks who are in Congress who still back the orange blunder, even though they try to play the role like they're not. You got cats like Joe Kent. Now, he's from Washington State. He's supposed to be speaking at this rally tomorrow. And, of course, the orange blunder backs this guy because he buys into that lie. America has become a place where common sense no longer prevails. Those who use it somehow are the bad guy now. And instead of trying to do better, we have many of our own congresspeople doing the dummy. Not only Republicans, but Democrats too, who say one thing to get your vote, then do another thing once they get there. Kristen Seneca, Joe Manchin, and a few others. In other news, Fox News, and I just find this to be real crazy. Fox News, who was beating the drum about Joe Biden and his vaccine mandates and forcing people to get shots and bullying people to get shots. It's funny, Fox News has daily testing in their facilities now. And they want people to give their vaccination history. And if you work for Fox News and have not been vaccinated, you must get tested on a daily basis. Yet you got Tucker Carlson and Sean Hannity out there telling people that, you know, you shouldn't have to be bullied into getting vaccinated. Yet they got requirements up the yin-yang over at Fox News. They saying one thing, but doing another. Amazing how they play that role. And they tried to implement it real quietly. But of course, you know that information got out. And it has leaked to the public. And the CEO of Fox News sent the memo himself on a Tuesday with updates to the COVID protocol. Okay, because he had made mention of it in June, But now they come back with updates, with an internal memo that cites they want to know what your history is. They want to know when you got it. If you haven't got it, like I said, you got to be tested daily. You also have to wear a mask in small, confined spaces in the building. But yet they are telling America, you're being bullied or they're trying to force you. But yet, what do you think you're doing right there in your own building, Fox? Trying to play the role on people. Which, hey, let's just be honest. COVID right now, especially in certain states, is doing a dance, and not a good one, left and right. 58,000 people died in the Vietnam War. The state of Florida is getting close to that number. As of the day, they was at 51,000 plus. That's not a good place to be. I've had people that I talk to tell me of family members and friends they know who have contracted COVID and they're trying to recover. And the scary thing is, even now, when you get a shot and get both shots, you can still contract the disease because of the new variants. This is why I say all the time, people, be safe. Wash your hands, mask up. I've had my shots since May of this year, but whenever I go out, I'm gloved up, I'm masked up, because you just don't know. I have friends I care about. Whenever I reach out to them, I tell them, hey, put that mask on, put them gloves on. I have friends who, they still out there getting their party on. I tell them all the time, please, put a mask on, keep yourself safe. And of course, you know how that is. I'm cool, I'm good, I'm all right, it's going to be okay. It may be, but all it takes is just one little slip up. And it ain't even got to be on your part. People, it never comes home until it comes home. But I strongly suggest we take COVID serious. Even though I read some encouraging news about California today, we still need to mask up, clean up, and watch how we control ourselves in certain areas. That's just how it is. People always talk about, I want to get back to where we used to be. I don't think we will ever get back to where we used to be to a certain extent. So we must keep ourselves safe. And that's what I want y'all to do. Keep yourselves safe. I know some of you sitting out there saying, this dude always talking about COVID. Right now, yeah, I am talking about COVID. And may do it again. Even though I have plans to cover some other topics, but you'll probably hear from me about COVID again. In the meantime, I'm going to tell you what I always tell you. Stay safe. Each one, reach one, teach one. Those of you who are legally armed, teach your family members and those in your circle how to use those firearms. Take them to the range. Get them legally registered and able to carry. Start a neighborhood watch. Start a cop watch. Watch the people who are watching us. And like I said, out there doing your thing, those of you who spend the weekend playing wifey or hubby with somebody, mask up, glove up, wash up, wrap up. Most of all, stay safe. I'll holla.